Hey y'all, this season we're teaming up with our friends at Written Word Media. Self publishing can be a solitary gig, but book marketing doesn't have to be, even if you love it like April does. Written Word supports indie authors with email promos and ad services that actually work. Whether you're launching a new release or trying to breathe some life into a backlist title, they've got tools and real humans to help. We've met them, we really have, to help you reach the readers who are looking for books like yours. They can also help you grow your newsletter and find brand new readers.
Both Jen and I have used their services and we're huge fans. So head on over to writtenwordmedia.com and let them help you shine a light on your book.
Shine a light.
I've got a new life goal to make Jen LaSalle laugh in the beginning of every single episode, right as she hits the record button. And so far, I am succeeding.
I'm going to pretend that it's difficult to make me laugh just so that you feel good about yourself.
I do. I feel great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tough Love Publishing Podcast. I'm April Moon, and this is my factually fabulous co-host, Jen LaSalle.
Factual got me. Like, I don't know how you made that sound good, but you did. Hello, everyone.
Jen, have you got any personal updates for us this week?
I do, and I'm still laughing because when I told you what my personal update for this week was going to be, you got a little jealous that you didn't think to do it. Because without talking about it or planning it, we both did the same thing this past weekend, which was to binge How to Get Rich on Netflix with what is his name? You know his name.
Ramit Sethi.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I really loved it, not because I necessarily agreed with everything, but I really loved it for two big reasons. The first was that as we were watching it, my husband and I would have like these different conversations, right, about things that, and I've been with my husband for 21 years. We've been married for 17. I don't know, something like that. It's just so long. Um, and yet there were things that came up that I was like, oh, we have never really even discussed that thing.
Yep.
Just because we didn't think to. And we have
Mhm.
talked about the big heart stuff before, but like not in that way. So I loved it for that. But the second, because his underlying, I think, concept is to be comfortable talking about money and to approach it from a place of confidence and conscientiousness as opposed to like fear and avoidance. And I love that mentality because I think that there's so much stigma surrounding finance and the idea that
Yes.
we should just talk about it, like even with our partners, right? Like even on our own or with our partners or friends or anything. And I don't mean talk about like how much money do you make, but actually talking about the realities of finance. I really loved that about the show. So I'm still
I love that. And just for the record, I must have a face that screams finance nerd because I swear to you, like hand on a Bible, that I have had people come up to me in random stores and just like tell me their financial information.
oh my gosh.
Like just out and out. Like I had a guy in Home Depot one time tell me his entire, like his salary, his career goals, like the whole thing. And I was like, all right, well, you keep working on that. And like, thanks for helping me find these bolts or whatever it was. Like that stuff happens to me all the time
And
and I love it.
and
But
meanwhile, people come up to me and tell me about like hardships or emotions and stuff. So I have therapy face, I guess, therapist
you do
face,
have therapy face. I have nerd face. It's fine.
nerd face,
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it.
resting nerd face.
I am wildly jealous that I did not think to use that as my what's going on this week. But I am very happy to report that my kitchen is finally making real progress and we're almost done. My flooring is getting finished today and my countertops are in. My husband sent me
Yay.
photos. They are gorgeous.
They
Oh, I'm
look
so excited.
beautiful. I cannot wait to see the final after
Yes.
pictures. So good.
The plumber comes tomorrow. We are
Oh,
like 92% of the way there. That's the value I'm going to assign for
I love
today.
it.
So that's it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I am going to be speaking at ORB in October.
And that's Orlando Reads Books, right?
Yes, Orlando Reads Books. I'm speaking for authors, not for readers, during the industry days portion of the event. So if you are local to Florida or close enough that you would want to consider driving and come see me speak, I will be talking about launching a new pen name, I believe.
Ooh.
So come and see me if you're going to be in Orlando in October.
How timely that you brought that up. What is our topic today, April?
Drum roll, please.
Da 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 da. That's not a drum
I
roll.
didn't mean to shake. I did not mean to shake the entire
That's okay.
computer with my drum roll. Our topic today is releasing a book.
Oh my goodness.
Woo.
That's so easy.
You take that back.
I'll take it right back.
Okay, guys, today we're talking about releasing a book. And we want to start that off by just acknowledging that different releases require different levels of effort.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things you can do when planning to release a new book is to decide what kind of release you're aiming for. Is this a middle of the series book, which is literally going to get a newsletter and a pat on the back on the way out the door?
Right.
Or is this a first in series, an end of series, something that you are going to completely roll out the red carpet for and really give it all you've got to push that book? So the first and most important thing is knowing what kind of release that you're aiming for.
And I just want to shout out to April, and the reason that you're talking about launching a new pen name at ORB is because you did that, right? You had a huge initial release of a book on an unknown pen name that launched you into the stratosphere and has done very well for you. So
I would never use the words launch me into the stratosphere, but
I'm going to
you.
launch you into the stratosphere.
Okay.
Yeah, so different releases, different levels of effort, and that we're going to talk a lot about planning and things that you need to do here and there. And I know you're going to bring this up later, but we are going to release a sort of high level checklist as a resource to go along with today's episode. But if the idea of this overwhelms you, just knowing that even if you have a plan that is very, very quote unquote simple and basic, that is okay because there will always most likely be another release that you can take to another level or do something different or try a new thing. It doesn't have to be a complicated plan, and there are lots and lots of plans online. In addition to our resource, there are other resources out there where people provide sample launch plans for you. So feel free to use someone's ideas as opposed to coming up with something from scratch on your own.
And to add to that, if you have a book releasing in 2 weeks and you hear all the stuff we're talking about and you think, oh crap, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Please don't panic.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do all of this. I'm going to be brutally honest and say, I don't do all of this for every release. Okay.
You don't have to do any of this. You could literally just put your book up and run ads and call it a day.
Congratulations, you released a book.
Congratulations. You're an author.
It is absolutely fine not to do everything. And in fact, I would encourage you intentionally to not do everything. But we are going to give you a lot of ideas today.
Sure.
So try not to be overwhelmed. Just take what sounds exciting and leave the rest. That is my disclaimer.
Yes, I love that.
Okay, so we're going to kind of work with a timeline here. So working up to release and then after release activities.
Okay.
So our first time range that we're going to be working on is greater than 2 months before the book comes out.
Yeah, and I love greater than 2 months because quite frankly, I do this before I even start my book. Before I even start writing, I do some of these things. I know this is rare because I know that not everyone does this, but I tend to develop the cover for my book before I even start writing it. Mostly because I run off vibes and I want the vibe of my cover to match the vibe of the book. And also just because seeing it excites me and it keeps me going when I'm struggling to write it. I was like, oh, I want people to see this beautiful cover that I have commissioned. But researching the market to find out within your specific genre that you're writing, what do covers look like and we talked about this when we did the episode on whether or not why a book might not be selling. We talked a lot about market research in there, and one of the issues might be that you didn't use a cover that was to market, or your titles, or you're not really feeding in the tropes accurately, or things like that. So as you're writing the book, in my opinion, and in some cases, I even do this before. I am currently on book 3 of a 5-book series. I have the names for all of the series books. I know roughly what's going to happen in all of them. I know that each of the themes for each of the books, I did all of that ahead of time based on market research for paranormal women's fiction, which is my genre, which is midlife magic, basically for women. Um, so that is something you want to think about ahead of time because it's going to factor into how you promote the book and where.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think it's also really crucial just because where is it going to land in the market? Like,
Yeah.
where does it need to be in the categories?
Yeah.
Is it going to stand out in a good way or a bad way from the other books in those categories? So, like, there's so much to it. I agree.
Yeah. And I also want to say we're talking about releasing a book in the context of making it somewhat of a monetary success.
Mhm.
Because that may or may not be your goal. And if you really are just like, well, I just want to write the book I want to write and see what happens with it, then maybe some of this or all of this may not apply to you. But just to shape this conversation, like that is what's framing it, is we're talking about releasing it to some level of monetary success, where at the very least it pays for itself and you, because we pay ourselves.
Yes, we do. Uh, do you have anything else you want to say about market research or?
Yeah, just there's two really great resources on that. The first is Alex Newton at Klytics. Actually, there's three. There's one that's not on my list that just popped into my head. So there's Alex Newton at Klytics, and there's Publisher Rocket, that's Kindlepreneur Dave Chesson. There's also Nat at Kindle Trends, who does these really cool interactive maps for genres. And so you can choose fantasy and then subgenres and how it all feeds into each other. It's all very, very cool. So, if you don't know what market research is or how to conduct market research, that is way outside of the scope of today. But those are some really great places to start because they're going to give you a feel for basically what the market expectations are for your genre.
And I would like to add for anybody that doesn't know how to do market research, it can start as simply as going on your book retailer of choice and browsing the lists.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If you go through and you look and you observe and you read, congratulations, you've started market research.
Yeah. Yeah. And some
Mhm.
people have an innate like sense of it. I've coached authors who have said, yeah, April's raising her hand because that's very true. Like for you, it's easy, right? You're like, well, I just did this, and this, and it was no big deal. But some people, they've read a specific book their entire life, right? A specific genre their entire lives, or they really like it. They decide to write a book and they're capturing all of the tropes and the expectations and all of that, not because they did market research, but because they innately know what the expectations are, even if it's in their subconscious, because it's the kind of book that they enjoyed reading. So they just wrote a book that they wanted to write. And so
Yes.
it sounds hard and it can be hard, but also that's very dependent upon what your personality is like, what your strengths are, and how much market research, like if you're in a familiar genre or a new one.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say a brand new genre is always going to be a little bit harder to hit dead on the nose than maybe one that you've been writing in for, multiple
Yeah.
books or multiple years. So,
Yes. Or niches,
for
like
sure.
subgenres
Mhm.
of genres.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. So my greater than 2 months from release is to make an advertising plan. That includes for me a budget. How much do I want to spend on this release? And I do vary that budget based on different time periods.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say how much do I want to spend on release week? How much do I want to spend on release month? And then how much do I want to spend in the first quarter? And after that, there's like a rolling advertising budget that it will just get like swept up into. So it
Right.
kind of for a new release specifically, I look at week, month, and first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I will typically set aside extra money to cover that, or I won't. And I'll say this one's just going to have to be covered by the standard budget because I'm not prioritizing this release as an advertising event, right?
Yeah.
Um, Other things that I would include in that plan is what avenues am I going to use to primarily push this book
Mm-hmm.
and how often am I going to use the different avenues? So there are a ton of different places that you can plan to position your book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Amazon ads, Facebook ads, Bookbub ads. I know we talked with Farrell. They've got a ton of different newsletter solutions for
Written
sharing
word
ads.
media. Yes, our sponsors, Written Word
Yes,
Media, have lots and lots
yes.
of resources when it comes to promoting your books.
Yes. And then we have also got options like Bookbub newsletters, such as new releases for less. That's actually something that I've used, and there's a strategy to make that effective, I think.
Yeah.
So there are more ways to put your book than there are not. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times
Yeah.
people can kind of get analysis paralysis on that. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to put it everywhere. Pick at least one.
Right.
You know, pick at
Right.
least one. I typically do two. I will focus on two primary avenues, and then anything else is more like a test. Do I want to see if this is effective or not?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the final question for my advertising plan is, what is evergreen versus what is cyclical? So like, how do I want to push this over a longer time period? And I'll make that plan up front usually.
Interesting. Interesting. What would be an example of an evergreen versus a cyclical advertising strategy in your mind?
So, evergreen would be something like I'm going to start a lower budget ad that I slowly scale up, that I'm going to find like the sweet spot, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
where it can spend at a rate I'm comfortable with permanently,
Mm-hmm.
and it can not burn out of creative so fast that I find it difficult to replenish it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the sweet spot of an evergreen marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm.
For a cyclical marketing campaign, I usually do those with Amazon ads, actually.
Okay.
So I might start with a broader net of Amazon ads,
Mm-hmm.
and I might start 20 ads whenever the book starts, because I want to get that extra push, even if it's not 100% conversion rate.
Right.
But over time, I'm going to prune those down
Okay.
and only keep the strongest and best performing things long term.
Okay.
Or another example of cyclical that people might be more familiar with would be seasonal advertising, right? So holidays, gifting occasions, 1 year anniversary of the book coming out, that kind of stuff.
And I want to point out one of the things when you're making this plan and you're thinking about your budget is, say for example, this is a book 3. You're going to want to factor in the budget on book 1 and whether you want to do a promo on book 1 leading up to book 3 to gain pre-orders or just to push the algorithm so that you have more attention on the entire series. Especially like I used to release shorts, and with shorts the lifespan of them tends to be short as well as the novel. And so as the later books released, I would bring back, like I would do a promo on book 1, or I would usually actually send it to Written Word Media and let them do a stacked promo for me, quite frankly, because and I just like drop it to 99 cents or something for a period of time, a couple of weeks before the book actually comes out, or the next book comes out, because then people can have time to like binge through the series and get to that book at the time it releases, and they're more likely to click that pre-order button because they like the earlier books.
Absolutely. And I think it's also really important to mention that specifically as a tactic for the final book in the series, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're completing a series, one complete series binge now is excellent marketing terminology, right? People love that. They want to know that they're getting the whole thing up front. And 2, pushing the entire series can have a much greater impact than a book 5 that people have to read 4 other books to read by itself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because one series sounds like less than 4 books in people's heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good psychological factor there. So moving a little closer to release date.
Yes. So next up is pre-release in about that 2 weeks before the book comes out, period. Yes. And there's a lot of stuff in here. For me, that's where the actual ad prep actually starts happening. So like I've made my advertising plan early, but I probably don't actually start creating the ads until much closer so that everything's fresh and it fits with the actual time period on which stuff is coming out. Stuff like it's not a book. I don't know.
Yeah. And you can actually schedule most ads to start on specific days. And that is what I will do, because I know during release week, I'm maybe not going to be wanting to focus on creating new things like that. So a couple of weeks earlier, when you're doing ad prep, like I will schedule them to start leading up to the release day and beyond.
So to that point, I actually start my automatic Amazon ad to a book 2 weeks before the release date. That is a very important key date.
Yeah.
2 weeks before for the auto ad, all of the other ads start the night before the book comes out. I do not bother running ads to pre-orders most of the time.
Yeah.
I think
auto ads just take some time to gather the metadata. So it's a good thing to start those earlier. So they have time to figure out what kind of book you are and how to sell it to your audience.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in general, Amazon likes seeing something gain excitement.
Yes.
Right? Like if it was flat and now it's no longer flat, I think Amazon is more likely to push that based on purely my own observations. Not any like inside scoop or anything, but I think that Amazon's more likely to push that if it goes and then starts going up at a right angle.
At a right angle.
Yes. Okay. So after your ads are taken care of, socials, if you're going to do socials, whatever those are in whatever areas you want to do them, about 2 weeks before is a really good time to start dropping teasers and also to do your prep for release week. For me, this honestly looks like having a meeting with my VA and being like, hey, here's what I was thinking. Can you make this better? Because I'm bad at socials, and I let her take over. I will say we do try to post daily during release week. And that's on our main platforms. Like we've identified 4 main platforms. So we try to hit all of those daily during release week. And then we will also during release week do some ad hoc items that we might have gotten like, hey, thank you so much for this amazing review. We really appreciate it. Thank you for reading. Like kind of throwing in the little sprinkles of extras. But I'm very minimal with socials. What about you?
I actually let my PA handle that as well. And my cat is trying to attack me. So
no, bad timing for me to hand it off to you.
She's like she's
oh my gosh,
you watching the video.
She's actually graced us with her face this week.
Jumped up. This is a different cat. This is Freestyle.
That's Freestyle. Okay. I was about to say, is that Butterfly?
No, Butterfly is usually the one who's laying here, but today Freestyle has decided that she wants some attention.
And now we're back to just having a cat tail.
And now we have a tail and a high knee because that is how my cats roll. I think it's funny. We put this as 2 weeks before where you start to actually prep the teasers and everything. But I tend to think about that very, very early in the process as well. Like I generate a separate document for what's that? You don't?
I don't.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's why it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, and that's good. Like, this is definitely an area where we do it differently. Like, I generate a document when I start the book, and it's teasers, tropes, themes, and blurbs, right? And I keep all of that. And whenever I'm writing something, I'm like, oh, this is really good. Even if I end up like removing it in edits, I don't care, right? It's something that will like give people the idea, and I can put themes in there, and I can put tropes in there. So my PA already has all of that by the time we reach that 2 week period where we're starting to generate all of that social media. That way I don't have to like comb through the book in those last few weeks and grab like the good snippets. I just kind of do it as I write. If there's a moment that I know this is impactful and it's a good teaser, I just grab it and throw it in the document while I'm doing my editing.
Do you want to know how I get mine?
Yeah.
I wait for the book. I wait for the book to release and then I go check the popular highlights.
Which is a great idea.
Yeah, like I don't spend any of my own time trying to guess what other people are going to like because I am too close to my work to ever guess. Like I can't do it. So I realized somewhere around book 2, hey, why am I killing myself trying to figure this out ahead of time when I can just wait and let people tell me?
Yeah.
And so ever since I have not spent any time on teasers and stuff, I just ask my social team, like, go get the book, look at the popular highlights, use those.
Yeah. But you can't do that before release day because they're not there.
Right. And I don't, though.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. There are none.
So if you're doing pre-release teasers, you'll have to pull those out from somewhere else or let one of your ARC readers, which I know you're going to talk about ARCs in a minute, so I won't get into that, but that's where ARC readers come in handy. And I would also say prepping the bonus content. So you have some really interesting statistics on what kind of bonus content works for you. Yeah. So like with my first book, I like to do deleted scenes. I do completely organic bonus content. I don't do like prequel reader magnets anymore or side stories or anything like that. It's always related to the book, and you get it because you've read the book and you're thirsty for more. So for my first, it was like a deleted scene, and it was whenever I write a book, I tend to always start too soon in the story, and so I just pull out that too soon bit that I've already written, and that becomes my bonus content. So my book starts at a more exciting place, and I have bonus content. But for my last book, we kept talking about this magical codex that described the process and the witchiness and everything. And I ended up formatting it to look like an old like parchment. And I even put like because I put a joke that Simone spilled coffee on it, so it has like a coffee stain on it, and it's
I
like
love
the
it.
letters are blurred. Like I had so much fun writing it. And that became my bonus content. And it allowed me to tease like book three as well. It has been like I have been completely surprised by the number of people that are more interested in that than a deleted scene. Just something totally fun and random.
That might speak to the genre expectations though. So I will say that
Well,
like
yeah,
your
what works
genre, yeah, your genre really matters because Jen is writing like paranormal fantasy,
right,
right? So like
right.
a cool fantasy object is obviously going to be in high demand. Like that makes total
Exactly.
sense to me.
Exactly.
Whereas,
But you
mhm,
write romance and
right.
we know it does
Uh,
best.
yeah, so people want more romance,
They
right?
do.
So for me, the best thing I've found for bonuses is well, actually, I discovered it completely by accident. But I went back and looked at my numbers. So, like, I have done unrelated to the book bonus scenes where they have like spicy times. I have done deleted scenes that were related to the plot, like
Right.
Jen has done.
Yeah.
I have done teased scenes in the book where like it might have faded to black. Not, I don't write fade to black, but that particular scene just wasn't explicitly inside the book
Right.
because it didn't move the plot forward, and I
Right.
only put scenes in that move the plot forward. Um, those scenes do the best, interestingly enough, for me, anyways.
Yeah.
Your mileage may vary, but if it's a scene that they got teased about inside the book that didn't actually end up inside the book, those scenes do the best for me by like 4 times the number of downloads.
We're going to end up with an entire episode on bonus content because I get so
You think?
excited when we talk about it. And I have coached enough authors who feel like it's a terrifying prospect and they think they have to write an entire other book and that is their bonus content. But it can be so fun and creative to figure out what works. And that's just going to be a whole other episode. But whatever you use, you're going to want to make sure it's prepared about 2 weeks before you launch your book to get us back on track.
Yes, yes. The other thing that I usually do at least 2 weeks out, sometimes it's 3 to 4, but honestly, as long as they've got a week or two, I really think it's fine.
Mhm.
Is I usually format and send out my arcs.
Mhm.
The sign up list, the way I do it is that I have a completely new list each time. I do not send it out to the exact same people every time.
Interesting.
It's actually like a bonus for being on my newsletter and staying on my newsletter that I send out the ARC sign up form to my newsletter, and I also send out the ARC sign up form in my Discord group because I have
Wow.
a Discord reader group. And then it's first come, first served. So it's like teaching people, hey, you want to be on my list, you want to stay on my list, and you need to open it whenever you get an email from me because
Ah.
I have had my most recent one filled up after 8 minutes.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yes.
Wild.
And then I started getting like dozens of emails from people being like, oh my gosh, did it close already? And then I had to apologize like 87 times. But yes, it had already closed after 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So ARCs, the sign up can be earlier or later, whatever, depending up to you. If you don't have an ARC team or a newsletter to get ARCs from, there is a great tool called Book Sirens that I have used. And they're my favorite, but there are others as well. I think Booksprout is another one that's really popular.
Yeah.
And
Book Sirens is
I'm
my
trying to
favorite
think.
as well. I actually just use them
Mhm.
to manage my ARC. I don't do a sign up form or anything because,
Oh, really?
yeah, but they allow people to follow an author that they like. And then you end up with a
Mhm.
little bit of a super fan kind of situation where maybe people don't want to be on a newsletter, but they
Mhm.
like to read, the ARCs and they end up like liking you and following you and they end up reviewing a lot of your books. So I like Book Sirens a lot for that.
So my only problem with Book Sirens is because my books have to be read in order. They require you to have all of the books in series up at the same time for the
Right.
newest book release, and I wasn't okay with that because KU.
Yeah.
Um, So I did the first one there and then I took it over personally after that so that I didn't have to continue providing.
Makes total sense. They actually, they haven't, like, I used them for the earlier books, so they haven't required me to republish those books. And
Mhm.
then like, they tell the readers, like, this book is best read in order. Even though my earlier arcs are closed, most of those people who followed me actually read my earlier books, so it works out okay.
Right.
But it's valid to
That
not
makes sense.
want to include all of that. But I do close it once it launches because then it is in Kindle Unlimited and you don't want to violate the terms of service for KU.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And speaking of formatting books, because I know you mentioned that formatting for your ARC readers,
Mhm.
depending on the turnaround time, by the way, for your cover designer, you're going to want to format your book. I use Vellum. April uses Vellum as well. Vellum is not the same. There's a Vellum that has something to do with AI, and that is not what we are talking about. Just want to make that very clear. Vellum is literally a publishing tool. You pay one price and you have it, and you can import your books and you can format them for both ebook and paperback in multiple formats. You can do cool features like text bubbles and parchment paper and all kinds of really fun stuff in Vellum. Um, it's very important to me that I set up back matter. And usually, what I set up is the pre order for my next book, especially if this is a series book. So I set that up around this time. So I have that link to put it in the back matter when I format it. But you also want to know like how many pages your paperback is going to be so that your cover designer has time to generate the paperback for it, the paperback cover, which is different.
Yeah, and I would say that 2 weeks before is a really good time to have that all finalized and be getting your paperback cover and all of that stuff if
Right.
you don't do it sooner. I
Right.
almost never manage to do it sooner. So
Yeah.
good point.
I love that I have a cover designer who's very responsive to that. And she's like, hey, yeah, here it is, within a few days or so, which is lovely. But you know your cover designer by now and how much time
Mhm.
they take. So yeah.
Yeah. And one more thing I will say about the Vellum point, it's a great tool. It is only available for Mac. So if you don't have a
Thank
Mac,
you.
then you will have to look at other options. I know
Yes.
that Readsy has a free formatting tool that you can do. It's web-based. And
Hmm.
there's also Atticus, which you
Right.
can use, I believe, on any operating system. So,
Yes.
but I also love Vellum. That's what I use now.
Thank you. Yes, I forgot about the Mac thing. You
No
got
worries.
me.
Gotcha.
Ooh. So we're moving up to release day, baby. Oh, I
Woohoo.
guess I have the first point, huh? Or do you
You
want to take
do.
it? Okay.
Nope, go ahead.
Celebrate. Celebrate. Celebrate.
That is not what it says in the
I
notes.
know it says relax, breathe, and celebrate, but I really wanted to focus on that celebrate because we don't do it, right? We get so caught up in how much money am I making? Did all of my pre-orders come in? Did I my rank move? Am I getting the royalties I expected? What are people saying about it? And all these things that we forget to acknowledge the accomplishment. Release day for me is a really good day to disconnect from the world and not look at those things, especially because sometimes there's delays in royalties and ranking and those kinds of things, is particularly on Amazon, which has like a 12 to 24-hour delay. And I find if I like am auto refreshing on release day that it's just setting me up for disappointment. Whereas if I just wait till the next day, I'm a little bit happier. So it's a good day to step away.
I am not that
I
disciplined.
know
I'm
you're
just going to
not.
be very honest with you. I would love to be that person. And I think it was my third book, which released at the end of last year. I did end up going to get a facial the morning that my book came out. I will say it was a great thing. There was 1 hour, there was stuff on my face. People's hands were on me. I literally could not move to check my phone for an hour. And that was probably a good thing, but I haven't done it again, which also probably tells you enough about
Hmm.
me.
Might need to remind you of that next release.
No, you don't. I'm good.
Yes,
I'm
I do.
good.
I'm making notes.
But I agree with the idea of like taking time to celebrate and to step away if you're at all able to. Because no matter how it's received and no matter how it hits, it's a big accomplishment, right? Like you've written a book, you've published a book. That's something so many people dream about doing, but never actually achieve. So, like, I
Yeah.
do hope that you take a moment on release day to be proud of yourself because this
Yeah.
is a great accomplishment. Um, Next up on release day, for me, one of the big things is the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
I usually do that a day or two before and have it scheduled to go out,
Right.
on
Right.
release day,
Yeah.
but not always. Sometimes I type it up fresh while I'm all in my feels on release day and,
Oh,
send an emotional thank you for, loving my words
yes.
to people. Because I do get sappy on release day. I'm such a sap. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you do. It's
Um,
cute.
I do. I'm a sap.
I'm always
The
a
other
sap,
thing.
so yeah, it's not new on release day. They're just like, there's Jenning again.
So, okay, we're kind of opposite though. Did you catch that?
Am I?
I get deeper into my emotions on release day, and you kind of get some distance on
I
release day.
do. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, because the other thing on my list for release day was responding to comments on social media.
Oh no, I will not be doing that, ma'am. No.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time engaging with readers as much as I can, which is not
Mhm.
maybe not as much as others because I'm still not a social media maven.
Right.
But if I'm getting tagged in things, if people are sharing things, I'm making the time to go out and say thank you for reading. I really appreciate your support. And like, it's really important to forget that your readers are people too, and they've spent their
Right.
time and their money on your book. And I
Hmm.
don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that I appreciate that.
I love that. I don't do it on release day because I disconnect, but the days after, like the
Mhm.
following days, I absolutely do that because those are the people that were so excited about your book that, like, they stayed up on launch day to read it. Or, they stayed up
Yes.
that
Oh my
night,
gosh.
no matter what they had going on. And that's just lovely. I love that part. So I am very
Mhm.
grateful for them. And I do let them know that, just not on release day. And I actually say that in the newsletter, by the way. And my newsletter announcement usually says, I'm taking a day off to disconnect. I hope you guys enjoy the book, and I'm going to be back tomorrow to find out how you felt about it.
I love that. I love that you're setting the expectation
Yeah,
and taking the space you need while still caring for the reader relationship. I think that's a
absolutely.
perfect balance.
Boundaries, baby.
Yes. And one more thing before we go on to release week is that release day is only the beginning. So don't
Mm,
fatigue yourself and don't like burn yourself out on day one, because if you want this book to continue selling, the push is going to last long after the book comes out. So just
right.
don't burn yourself out. Focus on the joy. There we go.
Focus on the joy. I love that.
All right. Next up, release week. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Dun dun dun.
So in that first week, but after release day, what are you doing? Jen,
I thought it was
got
really
anything?
interesting that you have a follow-up newsletter because I don't
Mhm.
do that. I guess like my follow-up all happens on social media. So we'll grab quotes or, review quotes or things that people said they loved about it, and we'll post them to social media, and I'll respond to people that are, posting about it and say my thank yous and everything. But I don't send another newsletter to my readers because I don't like inundating the inboxes. And it's a
So,
great idea to do because you're reminding them to review the book, right?
so that's actually not what I'm doing.
Okay.
That is a good idea. I have not thought of that, but um,
I should be doing that.
so my specific newsletter is 3 days after release, and I only send it to the people who didn't open the release day newsletter.
Ah,
So four releases are the only emails that I will resend to non-opens, and that is a
okay.
feature in most email sending tools.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you cannot pre-schedule it in mine. I use Flowdesk. Flowdesk does not let you pre-schedule the resend to unopens. You
Right.
have to wait for the email to go out and then go in on the day and then you go to that email and you tell it resend to anyone who didn't open this.
Okay.
So if they missed it or whatever, they have another chance to hear about the new release. The other thing I do in release week is I very closely monitor the ads,
Yeah.
right? Like this is when we are heavily, like I check daily, and that's not usual for me. I don't usually check my ads daily.
Yeah, that's a really great point. We didn't actually have that in our notes, but both of us do that, right? I'm paying a lot of
Hmm.
attention to my ads on release week, or in the
Yeah.
even like week to 10 days after a release day. I'm paying a lot of attention to how much I'm spending and what
Yeah.
people are searching for because it tells me what my advertising isn't telling me, which is how people are hearing about me.
Yeah. And the other things that you can start to get that information and feedback on in release week is what are people highlighting in the reviews? Because
Right.
that can affect your marketing, right?
Right.
Hey, if everybody loved this one scene that I was too close to it to see and pull out, well, hey, let's add that to the marketing.
Yes.
Let's add that to our social push. Like, let's,
Mhm.
be reactive in a positive way. I don't
Yeah.
ever want people to be reactive in a negative way.
Mhm.
Like, my policy is I do not respond to negative comments
No.
ever.
Yeah.
They are entitled to their opinion. They did not have to love the book. They still paid for it. They still read it. Thanks for reading. And that's all the opinion I'm ever going to have about that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But you can use the positive responses and react to that in a positive way.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So
For sure. Yeah. So then, really, over the next month, increasing the push, the eyes on your book, because now you have more information, right? You have more feedback from the readers. So you can use that to create better targeted ads. You also start to gather, like on Amazon, also bots, because those start to show up once the book has been released. And that tells you a little bit about what kind of competition you can target in your advertising. And just gradually, just trying to keep the tail of your rank as long as you possibly can.
absolutely. And if this is a new series release, I know we've talked about like different points in the series and different books
Yeah.
in the series. If this is a new series release, this is the time to double down so that the popularity still appears to be going up, right? We want to feed those algorithms everywhere that we can. This book is growing in popularity. That is
Yeah.
the message that we want to send,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah, going back to what I said earlier, even if this is later book in the series, pay attention to book one when you release those books, because you may do more for book
Absolutely.
one than you do those later books.
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I will also mention that release month is usually when the budget starts to go up.
Hmm.
I know everybody probably thinks, oh, well, all these big name authors are spending a ton of money on release week, so I need to do the same. That's not usually my strategy.
No.
I prefer to do what I call a slow roll launch. I
Mhm.
literally plan out 3 months. And I say on day one, it's not going to look like much is happening, and that's fine by me. And on day two, barely more than day one is happening, and that's fine by me. But
Yeah.
the goal is at the end of 3 months that it's in a really amazing place and that it feels organic and that it feels easy. Honestly, if I can get easy, that's great,
Yeah.
right? That I can just slowly turn things up and it doesn't feel stressful and it doesn't feel rushed. And then, like, the book is still selling well 3 months out, then I've achieved my goal for launch.
Yeah, and you are quite frankly a little bit of an anomaly in that your book one was
I
hugely
know.
successful for a brand new pen name, but for a lot of new pen names, if you are not an established author and you release a book one in a series, it's not necessarily going to gain as much traction until you start releasing later books in the series.
Mhm.
Like and I am an established author, like I'm using the same pen name, and I had a comfortable level of popularity, but I knew I was releasing like that next level book, the series 2.0 that Zoe York talks about, right? And book one
Mhm.
went well and it went exactly where I expected it to and wanted it to. But I'm definitely seeing, like, when book two released, I'm seeing even more of a jump and even more pre-orders for book three. And I expect the same thing to happen for book three. So you have to factor all of that in really from the time of release, because you don't want anything like that to surprise you.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. All right. So after we get out of release month and we
Hmm.
start talking about the entire quarter and the entire following year, I think it's important to point out that most people have stopped pushing a new book by this point,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
um, I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings or if you have done that. I do not want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I do think that if a book doesn't do as well in release week or on release day or whatever, that because we are artists and because we're so close to it, that we can struggle to continue feeling upbeat and feeling like we should market this book, right? And that
Hmm.
can be whatever your platform is for marketing your book. It doesn't have to be ads. But a book is so much more than release week. And I
Yeah.
really meant it when I said if the book is still selling well 3 months later, then I've achieved my goal.
Hmm.
Right. So I
Yeah.
want you guys to start thinking about how can I push these longer and how can I keep eyes on my book for the long term?
Sure.
Evergreen marketing.
And what are some examples of evergreen marketing that you like? She says, looking at the
Um,
notes.
I I was gonna do seasonal next, but okay.
I think seasonal promos are part of evergreen marketing though.
Yeah,
I don't think that they're
I agree.
separate. Yeah.
Okay, so seasonal marketing can look a ton of different ways.
Yeah.
Reduced price promos, free promos, newsletter promos, those are one example. And depending on if you're wide or in Kindle Unlimited, if you're wide, you can do this as often as you want.
Right.
I will say there's diminishing returns if you do them more than like once a month.
Right.
I would say, because you have to start rotating things and like that's going to take some thought, but you can absolutely accomplish that on an evergreen basis if you're wide.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in Kindle Unlimited, you can only do that kind of thing usually once a quarter, right? Every 90-day enrollment period. But that's still something you could do 4 times a year if you were so inclined to do it. You can advertise. You can rotate your advertising platforms. Like if you feel like one platform is getting tired, switch platforms. Go try out Bookbub ads, or whatever strikes your fancy.
Yeah.
There are also seasonal sales. Like I personally love a good Christmas sale. We celebrate Christmas, so that's always what comes to mind for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to tell you guys, Sexy Santa sells books, okay? At least romance books. And this was the first year, I say this year, it was actually 2024. It was the first year that I did a big, I made all these Christmas ad images and I did all this stuff, whatever. And there were 2 different images that I really was just like, these are completely off the wall, but I'm going to put them in there anyways. And one of them is like sexy bare chested man chest Santa with like the full beard and like all of it. Sexy Santa did great. I was like a little horrified, but he did great. And then the other one was like not at all sexy. It was like Father Time with the big white beard and the blue robes and the winter landscape. He did great too. He's actually still selling books and it's August right now.
That's amazing.
And I've even gotten 1 or 2 amused comments on it. Like, I'm not sure that Father Time is the best way to sell this book, but it was a great book. And I'm like, you'd be surprised because the attribution data says otherwise.
Always good.
I don't know.
When you have the receipts, it's always fun. You can be like, actually, this is working for me.
Yeah. So you just never know.
Yeah. You never know. And trying new things is kind of the benefit of advertising. We have talked multiple times about not being afraid of failure. And when you're advertising, even if you don't think something is going to work, trying it is the only way to find out for sure, because you really never know. There's really something in every single season. Like I put 2 notes here because I write women's fiction, right? Women's fiction is most popular in the summer for beach reading, and in the fall when people are like, I just want to get in a cozy sweater. Like even if they live in the South, like me, where you can't wear cozy sweaters because it's still 90 degrees. This is just not working. But the idea of a cozy sweater and reading by a fire, right? Like that idea does really, really well. And so I have rotating creative that I pull out in the summer where I'm like, get your next beach read here, or in the fall where I'm like, get your cozy book, and even like in August, a lot of people do back to school promos because that works if your demographic is, mothers or women of a certain age. So there's something in every promo that you can, or every season that you can latch onto if you try to. We even mentioned Valentine's Day.
Off the top of my head, I'm going to just give some completely off the cuff ideas here. Okay. But New Year, new reads.
Yes.
Okay. Fall in love with a book in February, Valentine's Day.
Yep.
March, springtime. Spring into a new reading habit, baby. Let's get some good books on there. April. Don't let April showers get you down. Crawl in bed with a good book. Okay?
Or even if you do, like if you have, like for example, like religious fiction or really sweet fiction, like doing something Easter related, right? Look what the bunny put in my basket kind of thing will work.
Yes, absolutely. That could be a great idea for like sweet Christian options.
Yes. Can I tell you, before you do May, can I tell you what Written Word Media did for May, which was genius? They did Tales and Sails, and it was mermaids and pirates. And it was because we were getting into like beach reading, like season, right? We were getting into the summer season, and they did Tales and Sails, and it was super fun. SAILS sales, not,
So May, June, and July are all great for like beach, summer, schools out, all that kind of good stuff. The 4th of July, you can definitely, like, if you have military romance or anything like that, you could really hit that around the 4th.
Yep.
And I mean, it just goes on. If you are creative, you can think about something seasonal for pretty much every single month of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
October has
Um,
Halloween, right?
AKA paranormal romance season.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And November has can potentially have Thanksgiving depending on, what you do or where you live. But Thanksgiving, like people are thankful for a good book or, get away from the
Yes.
family and read a good book kind of things work really well.
That works really well on me personally because I am that mom who will happily sit in the corner with a book and be like, I love you guys. Please go entertain yourselves for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then also, because I love that we're spitballing here, because this just came to my mind, even though I do this every year and I don't think about it, all of my books are set in Louisiana and I do Mardi Gras promos.
Mardi
And I'm
Gras
like,
promos.
yeah, like
Amazing.
so something if you have big festivals in your town, or if you have, for example, this is a really good one. If you write like small town romance or small town fiction, and you do like they're having their annual summer festival or whatever, and you use that as advertising, you are inviting them into the world in a really, really great way.
I love that so much.
So
And
much
I
fun.
think if you write contemporary at all, you can celebrate those kind of anniversaries, right? And you can make it a
Mhm.
marketing event. And I think that's a great idea.
If you write historical, you can also celebrate different things. You know what I mean? If you write
True.
if you write Bridgerton, like on Queen's Day, you can do something. I don't know all the holidays, but there's always
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day that's Canadian,
Yes.
right? Or is that
No,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's also British.
Okay, so yeah, see there's different things that you can do. Just look around and think outside the box.
And if you are a non-American author, please bring your readers from America and wherever else you find your readers all over the world
Right.
into your particular culture, right? Like
Right.
I love to tell readers like we celebrate Christmas, but tell me what you celebrate and I will
Right.
include that in my newsletter next year because when
Right.
I do my December newsletter, I say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy, like I make the whole long list. And
Hmm.
if a reader emails me back and tells me what they celebrate, it goes in the list for next year,
Yeah. I love that.
right?
Yeah. I've done solstice celebrations as well because I have witches in my books, right? And one of them
Mhm.
it was Yule, so I didn't do Christmas. I actually did Yule and the winter solstice, and they got stuck on the I think it's the shortest day of the year. I can never remember, but anyway, it was fun.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
awesome. So there's literally no limit except your own imagination. And
Hmm.
I hope, if nothing else, hearing a spitball like this has made you feel like it can be fun.
Yeah,
Because I think a lot of people think marketing is a drag, but I don't think it has to be.
you can be excited
Um,
about your advertising and try different things, and they may not all work, but trying them is how you know,
And I would like to hammer home Jen's point about the fact that it's okay if some of them or a lot of them fail.
right?
Because I recently did the math because of all the new algorithm changes with Amazon and Facebook and the targeting changes and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
I actually did the math. Jen, would you like to guess how many of out of the total number of ads I've created all time for this pen name, how many of them were actually winning ads?
Okay, so I actually know the answer because you told me.
Oh,
So
shoot, I
I
told you? I forgot I told you.
yes.
Oh, I was
But
going
if
to
you
make you
want me to
guess.
guess, okay, let's say out of 100 ads, if I did not have the information, I would be like, I don't know, 75. And you
I
would
think
say,
10%.
yes, 10%
So the actual hard numbers were over 125 ads created and published, and only 10.
ads.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But you found those by trying new
Mhm.
things. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Good thing to remember. Okay, I have a quick note here about one thing that I do after launch, and I do this over the next, I mean, we have it within the first quarter to year. Um, it's a wonderful time to deepen your connection with your readers, especially as they share their enthusiasm of your books. And as you continue to gain new readers who are like really excited about those releases, if you are in the middle of you're writing something, you don't have a release coming up, it's a great time to do, yeah, I think it's called like vertical marketing as opposed to horizontal, where you're actually going deeper. Deepen your connection with your readers, get to know them, bring them into the story, bring them into ask them about something from the books or something like that. Like maintain that connection so that when your next launch happens, they are excited about it because they've been a part of it from the very beginning.
I love that. I think that's great.
I love you. I think you're great.
Aw, Jen. you.
Speaking of love.
Oh my gosh, it is time for the weekly tough love moment. You want to go first this week, or would you like me to go first?
No, yeah. I think we actually already touched on mine a little bit, but I'm good with that. I am the kind of person who always has moving goalposts, right? Like, as soon as I achieve a goal, I'm like, cool, what's next, right? Like I'm a constantly looking forward kind of person. Um, and this is an area where I do not excel, but I would recommend that taking a moment and recognizing the accomplishment of a release of a book. Even if it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to or the way that you hoped it would, because at the end of the day, no matter what, even if you do everything right, this is a chaotic industry and luck is a big part of it. Um, Take a moment and recognize the accomplishment of what you have done because a lot of people want to write a book. People tell me all the time, they're like, oh, you're an author? I have a book in me, or I've always wanted to write a book. Somebody just messaged me not that long ago and said, I'm quitting my job. Now I have time to write a book. And I was like, cool. I wrote mine while I was working full time, but you do you, right? Like if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But not everyone actually reaches that point where they actually publish the book. So give yourself props.
I love it. Very, very love. Very love.
Very love.
This week.
A little tough.
It's fantastic. All right. My tough love moment for the week is that your release is so much more than a single day. And beyond the release, your book is so much more than a single day. It's huge and it's got the potential to go so much farther than you might think it could.
Yeah.
But in order to see that kind of growth and progress, you're going to have to keep supporting it in some way. And I just think people give up on books too soon, right? And I'm not saying that if, you've given it your all, that you shouldn't ever take a break or move on or whatever. I'm not saying that because I think we all have a point where we say, okay, it's time to move on to the next book. But don't give up after one day. Don't give up after 1 week. Your book can do so much more.
I like it.
Yep. Okay. I think that's it.
Yeah. I would say, I know this is usually your department, but I'm gonna say if any of you have like some cool launch tricks or strategies that you like, leave them in the comments and let us know. Because we can all learn from one another. Cool new things.
Yes. Please tell us all the things because I use an Airtable checklist and I'm sure that you guys have tons of things that I could put on it that I'm currently overlooking or intentionally overlooking.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I use Notion.
We didn't know.
I know. I never mentioned it.
Never, ever. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. That's it for this week. See y'all next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
And before we go, I wanted to take a moment again to say thank you to our friends at Written Word Media for supporting season 1 and this episode. If you're an indie author looking to reach more readers without losing your mind or your writing time, check out their email promos and ad services. They make book marketing feel doable. And if you're anything like me, you might even find it fun.
Head to writtenwordmedia.com and take the next step in getting your book into the right reader's hands.